Good to
Yes,
have.
good evening, everyone.
Yes, good to see you.
You know, right.
Yes, I'm
Good night.
sure.
Good night.
Yes, I'm sure you are listening to this conversation,
Yes.
and I have up on the screen Mrs. Tweedy, and Mrs. Tweedy is actually from the cartoon Chicken Run. And I don't know if anybody know who Mrs. Tweedy is and who is Mrs. Tweedy, and you try to figure out who is this minister is Mrs. Tweedy. But but let's go to what are your thoughts on this education, the reshuffling in the education Ministry of Education. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think it was long awaiting for her to be removed, mainly because we were constantly seeing a lot of failing on her part. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking about personal failing, but statements like school is ready, we're on track to open, first day of school, schools are not ready, parents have to go back and pick up children, environmental problems, projects still going on, open wells, which we know are very, very dangerous. So over and over, we have seen situations where it seemed like the minister at that time was not looking over on the top of her ministry. And at that, it allowed the children who were going to school to be in a position where they were out of school for long periods of time. Remember last semester, Grantley Adams, their school, their students were home for almost a whole semester.
Mm-hmm.
And they are now catching back up. So even though it seems like it was not necessary, it was necessary to remove her. She was not doing her job. And by not doing her job, she has impacted a whole generation that had to go to school under her. And we will now continue to see the fallout as we are struggling with a high loss of literacy in Barbados, where we have a big number of children who are not able to read. And I am going to, when you think about children doing online learning, that
Yeah.
is really impacting them and how they're learning to read. We have children who log on to online learning, turn off the cameras, and go outside. Teachers are not able to keep up with them. So when you have situations where children have to be at home for long periods of time doing online learning, it's not conducive for them. Something as simple as scheduling repairs to be for the school could have been done earlier instead of running into when school is starting. Right? So you put a video up.
Yeah. No, it's going to play without the audio. Yeah,
Oh,
just continue for another minute, and then I'm going to go back to Rose and then to Nigel.
okay, all right, no problem. On my part, I'm not saying the video. Oh, I'm now saying the video.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just continue speaking unless you done?
No, I'm not done. And
Yeah.
I found that under her leadership, we had a huge number of children fighting. We had a huge number of people coming into the school without getting appropriate access, and then they're going back to tightening security. What does that really mean? How did they even get into the school in the first place? I believe that if something is your ministry, you need to be on top of things like that, especially when you have children at risk. When you put children in a position to be potentially harmed, you are putting them at risk. There's so many things where she misstepped, and I feel like she should have been removed every sense.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know if the new minister what he will have in plan, but I hope he's able to get his act, well, the act that she left back for him to fix together very quickly, because or not we will have children graduating, leaving school, being impacted with what she left.
Yes.
I think there will always be a power struggle. You cannot, well, they cannot, the leadership that is currently there cannot stay there forever. At some point in time, somebody will have to take over.
Mm-hmm.
They, amongst themselves, will have to decide who is the next leader or leaders to emerge. But for that to happen, you must give people wings. With the current set of people that are the ministers, they're not showing us any real rise of who will determine or who will become a leader. So we don't know who it would be, because at this point in time, they're all being overshined by the prime minister, and for that reason, they will have difficulty with giving the public of Barbados, I guess, the belief that they can do it. when we look at it, there's not a lot of them that we can say, well, we can see what they have done in their ministry. And because of that, Barbadians do not feel confident thinking that a reshuffle will help them gain more confidence. I want to tap back quickly to the new, I don't even know what to say, the new Minister of Education, but he's not the Minister of Education. But one of the things I recognize, even though his portfolio may be, I guess, mainly diplomatic, they now announced that he might be potentially taking over for Edmund Hinkson. And I feel like that was an opportunity to put him in the limelight to speak more, because when you are in the sector where you speak on education, you are frequently in the limelight. So I feel like that was an opportunity that they used to put him there. It may not work out in the best for them. We now have to wait and see what he will do. But for me, it feels like it was purposeful. And
Yes.
that's why he was placed there with all the issues currently going on with education.
Yes.
The Ministry of Education's page on Instagram, and it was looking over some of the things that they posted. And one of those photos was a photo of the current minister. Well, we don't know what his real position is at this time, is Mr. Blackman. And one of the things he put at his caption, because he collaborated with them, was that it may take him a couple days or a day or a month to get his head like wrapped around the situation for that industry. And to me, that is the beginning of a problem. If you are identified as a person who can get the situation with education back on track, why do you now need to get updated on what is going on with it? You should already come in knowing what the problems are, identify them, and have solutions starting from day one, because they selected you to replace a person who already was experiencing difficulty. So if you now have to spend time to get up to date with the issues and come up with solutions, you are in a worse position.
Yeah.
So my
I
question
understand.
is
Yeah.
that did they really think through this switch around, or he just happened to be pulled out on a whim and placed there? Because if that is the case, we have a bigger problem on our hand. We have issues that are urgent and needs addressing right away, and we do not have time for him to be caught up, because he needed to have selected to have be in a position to deal with it right away. So if he cannot handle it, we need to put somebody else that would be able to get everything started out as soon as possible.